Hi everybody. I'm gonna put this on my main channel just because it's not a movie review, but I'm gonna probably share it on my movie reviewer page. What it is I haven't been somewhat of a big fan of Johnny Depp. And I know that him and Amber Heard, his now ex-wife, are having it out in the TV in the courts, mainly in the courts. Excuse me, my ear is popping. One thing I have to say, and I think both of them will agree with me on this, sometimes people make bad decisions. And it ends up costing them a lot in the end. Like they're paying for bad decisions. Well, as one of my cousins would say down home, I really believe that those two should have probably never gotten together. And, now they're fighting like two little tired 4-year-olds who need the toy taken away from them, their butts whooped, and they both need to be separated and put to bed for a nap. I really do. I just wish I wish that those two would just get over it and get on with their lives. But one thing I think needs to mainly happen is they need to sort out whatever their problems whatever their problems are between themselves behind closed doors. And I mean, I've been sitting on this for like a few days trying to think about what my opinion is on it. I gotta tell you, really, I think the judge that's overseeing the cases needs to throw the cameras and the reporters and stuff out of his courtroom or her courtroom. The judge needs to throw the reporters and the cameras and everything out of their courtroom. And, just like, well, if you want to know how it goes, you're going to have to wait until after the verdict and they can tell you anything and everything you want to know. I mean, because seriously, it's just some of the stuff I'm reading. I'm like, seriously, could we talk about something else? Because it's getting old fast. It was old, I'd say 3 weeks ago, if not longer. But yeah, I wish they'd have thrown all the reporters and the cameras and stuff out of the courtroom 3 weeks ago, and that would have just been the end of it. Because that's what I would have done if I had been the judge. I would be like, okay, yo, we're closing this courtroom to reporters and cameras and stuff. So get out. Skid row scenes, get the hay out. That's what I would be saying to him. Because I'm like, they can put their big people pants on. And they can, just deal with it. I don't know why one or both of them, I'm not going to point fingers, although I suspect it's Amber Heard trying to be a media whore. Maybe. Or is Johnny Depp being one? Or are they both being one? I'm half thinking one and or both of them is trying to be a media whore. Yeah. Because it's killing their publicity, to be completely honest. It's just, I still like Johnny Depp. It's not like Mel Gibson. The difference between, let's frame it this way. I still like Johnny Depp because, you know what? I haven't heard him say anything derogatory as in the way Mel Gibson did an anti-Semitic rant a few years ago. And I know I talked about that in another video about Mel Gibson's rant, not Johnny Depp saying anything crazy. I've never heard Johnny Depp say anything like that I'm aware of, that I can remember. And I mentioned this over on my movie reviewer page. I watched Father Stew recently in the theater with my mom and one of her sisters. If I had known that Mel Gibson was in that movie, I wouldn't have went and seen it. I can't stand Mel Gibson now because it's like, I look at him and think, like, okay, I know you're a Catholic dude, but, it's, one of those things where I'm like, you need to, shut and sit down, honey. And I also wanted to talk about this too. Recently, Tom Cruise's movie Maverick came out, which is like Top Gun Part 2. Everybody knows that Tom Cruise is like one of the big wig pickers of Scientology. And I've seen Leah Remini's TV show about Leah Remini and Scientology and stuff, where like she talks about, interviews people and talks to people about, Scientology and like what everybody went through that left, and how it's a cult and this, that, and the other thing. And Leah Remini got out on like Twitter or somewhere and said, that every time somebody promotes this Top Gun movie is promoting Scientology and everything. And I'm like, well, I'm like, if Tom Cruise makes a movie now, knowing that he's like a big wig picker in Scientology, that's going to get brought up. And I'm like, I didn't even like associate one with the other. It's apples and oranges with me. I mean, because I was more into the thing that, Val Kilmer, I think, is in this movie. I read somewhere where he is, and I watched part of his documentary, Val Kilmer's documentary. He's had throat cancer, and he has a robot talking for him now, and it's like they tried to make it sound as close to him the way he sounded back in the day as possible, but it weirded me out. It's like he went from being, Mr. Big to being Mr. Big Surprise. I tell you, that's how I feel about it. Like, whoa. I was like, I saw him talking, and he was going like this, and it sounded like he was talking into a ceiling, or a fan, a floor fan. I mean, it did. I was like, I was like, I can't take listening to his voice anymore. I had to turn it off. But, anyway, I have mixed feelings about it. I mean, I really don't particularly wish to see Tom Cruise anymore either. But, I mean, I mainly would want to see it for Val Kilmer. To see, like, like what they do with him. Like, do they actually jerry-rig it to where he sounds like his young self again? Or what do they do with it? But, I'm not so much worried about the Scientology bit. But yeah, I mean, seriously, it's like Johnny Depp and Tom Cruise are both getting their butts handed to them, now, because one's having a trial, for defamation, and the other one's got a movie coming out, and people are like, screaming about Scientology and stuff. It's like, you know what? My thought's this. I mean, I don't think I would go and see Top Gun Maverick. Just because, I just really, I feel like I'm giving money to Scientology in a way, by doing that. I agree with Leah Remini on that. But at the same time, I'm like thinking, but the other people, that are in that aren't necessarily Scientology, I don't think. I don't think Val Kilmer is, at any rate. And Tom Skerritt and whoever else is in there. I've never heard of them being involved with Scientology and what have you. So I can't really honestly say if they are or not. But anyway, it is what it is. I mean, my thought is, if you want to go watch it, go watch it, If you don't, don't. I mean, because I don't see me going to watch it, though, to be honest. Because the only two movies that I want to see that I haven't seen yet, and I mentioned this on my last movie review video, is the new Downton Abbey movie, which I like. And then Elvis, just because I have to tell you, there is a dude named Tom that I like, and it's not Tom Cruise, it's Tom Hanks. I absolutely love Tom Hanks. I love me some Tom Hanks. I mean, two of my favorite actors have to be Tom Hanks and Johnny Depp. And I think, if Johnny Depp ever makes another movie, which I think is highly unlikely considering, how Amber Heard has just basically blown his movie making career up and put it to bed and whatever. I think she's destroyed her movie career too. Hope you're happy, honey. That's how I feel about it. But anyway, I mean, I'm like, seriously, those two need to just get over themselves and put that to bed. But anyway, the movie that's coming out is Elvis, that I'm really looking forward to, because I've been hearing about that movie for like 2 years or 3 now. And ever since I heard Tom Hanks. Ever since I heard Tom Hanks was making Elvis in Australia, I was like, heck yeah. I'm like, booyah. I mean, granted, he got COVID in the middle of it. I felt so bad for Tom Hanks on that. Him and Rita Wilson got COVID while he was making Elvis. And I thought, oh my God, that has to suck. I mean, I'm like thinking, that has to suck. And I think that had a lot to do with why it took them an extra year to get the movie out, was because poor old Tom Hanks got COVID making this movie. I mean, I'm like, bummer, dude, And Rita Wilson got it. I mean, they were both quarantining together in Australia while they were making this movie, and I thought, oh my God. I felt really bad for Rita Wilson and Tom Hanks, because they had to quarantine. They had it. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, that sucks. I mean, those are two people that I heard had COVID, and I'm like, that blows. Especially when they're trying to, Tom Hanks is trying to make a movie. And I just really am looking forward to seeing that next month in June for, a treat. I mean, I consider that a treat. Well, anyway, one thing I wanted to say in closure is, I hope Tom Hanks' movie Elvis is good. Secondly, I hope that Johnny Depp and Amber Heard can figure out whatever their problem is. But do it behind closed doors, because really, children, I am over it. Y'all need to pee or get up off the pot, is what I've been getting at. And thirdly, Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise, and I would have rather have seen him make another Anne Rice movie than whatever this was. Well, anyway, folks, I'm going to pause here, and I hope you all have a safe and happy summer, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.